All right, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to do a lesson, I believe it's lesson 4. Is that correct? Lesson 4 today. Locating points and midpoints. Really not that hard. The second half of this is actually pretty difficult. We're going to actually spend 2 days on this, all right? But the second half of this is tricky. But most of this, like yesterday, did I teach you a formula for distance between 2 points on a coordinate plane? No, I didn't teach you a formula. What do we do? When we had 2 points, what did we do? How did we find this distance yesterday? Wow.
Triangle.
We made the right triangle. The kid who wasn't even here got it right, and the people who were here didn't get it right. L for all of you. We turned it into a triangle. We didn't write a formula for that. We just used what we already knew, yes? All right. I'm going to try pretty hard today not to give you formulas for this either. All right. So here's the first thing we need to talk about. Midpoint. All right, if I have a point, I don't know, it's at 2, and I have a point, it's at 12. And I asked you where the midpoint was. Matthew, I want you to be quiet. Everybody else, how could you figure it out? There's a couple ways you could do it. Well, give me one way, maybe. How would you do it? Yep.
You find the amount that's in between.
Okay. So that's the most common way early on is say the distance here is 10, and then what?
Divided by 2.
And that would say 5. Now be careful, if you do it this way, and I don't recommend this way long term, but it's a good way to start, that doesn't mean this is 5. What does 5 mean?
You add to the 2.
Right, that's how far you go from the 2 or how far you go down from the 12. So this would be 7. That's one way to do it. Good. Another way? What do you got?
Can't you do like the common denominator?
You're on the, I think you're using the wrong terminology, but you might be doing something else. No. You might be right. You might be using the wrong word.
12 minus 2 is 10.
Well, that's what she did, right? She did 12 minus 2 is 10, and then took half of it, and that's how far you move. Here's a better way. If I wanted to find halfway, let's say your grade was a 75 and an 85. What's your average? 80. What'd you do? Don't you add them together and divide by 2? If my score was a 75 and an 85 and I asked you what your average was, wouldn't your average be the halfway point between those two? So if I have 2 points and I want to find the midpoint, it's the same as finding the average of them. Halfway between 2 numbers is the average of the numbers. Do we need a formula for that? So if I have 2 and 12, and I say, what's the midpoint? I'm really just saying, what's the average? So how could I find average? I could do 2 plus 12 divided by 2, which is exactly what we did here. Make sense? So don't come up with a new formula for midpoint. Midpoint is just average. That's it. Okay, so if I had a point here at, I don't know, -2, and I had a point here at 10, and I wanted to know what the midpoint was, what would I do? Add them together and divide by 2. That's 8 divided by 2 is 4. That means the midpoint is 4. They're going to do something on your homework tonight. You might have saw this on the previous night, and I probably should have pointed it out. They'll start putting tick marks here. Did you guys see tick marks last night? You know what tick marks mean there? Whatever the tick mark's touching, that means that this segment's equal to this segment. So that means 4 must be the midpoint. Yeah? So when you see tick marks there, that means equal. If you saw something like this, and they said tick marks there, and they had double tick marks here, what do you think that means? And they'll usually on the book they'll have a different color, so it'll probably be red in your book, but in real life you can't change the color. But what if it did that? What does that mean? So these two are equal. They're the same length, which means that must be the midpoint. And since it has a double tick mark, these are equal. All right, but don't forget, midpoint is just. Now, take it to the next step, right? And let's say I had 2 points on a coordinate plane. Okay? All right, let's say I had those 2 points. So what is this point at? 2, -2, and what is this, 4, 4? All right. All right, so if I have this line, right? and I wanted to find out where's the midpoint. There is a lot of ways you can do it, but there's one really fast way. What do you think?
Do the x's divided by 2 and then 1.
Good. Find the average of the x's, and then, is that what you're going to say? Good. Average of the y's. Let me help you visualize that. If you make the right triangle here, right, you would find the midpoint of the x's, which would be right here, and then you would find the midpoint of the y's, which looks like around there. And then wherever the midpoint of the x and the midpoint of the y comes together is going to be the midpoint of the whole thing. Is that logical? Okay. If you go to your notes and you see midpoint formula, okay, it gives you this formula. What is that? That's the average. And write that. That's the average. And what is this complicated formula here? So, I want you to write it like that. Average of the x's, comma, average of the y's. There is no x here, just so you know, so we can get rid of this. All right, next question. So when they give you a problem like this, how do we start these off? I said it the other day. Make a picture of it so I know what I'm looking at. What do I know? B is the midpoint of CD, right? Okay, so here's CD. What do I know about B? It's the midpoint, so B is here. Now, how do I tell that how do I mathematically show that that's the midpoint? I put the little tick marks, yes? That easy? And I think you can already tell what to do in this problem, right? It's real simple. How far is this? How far is it from C to D?
12.
So this is 12. So what's CB? 6. What's BD? Yay, math easy. Yeah? I want to say, oh yeah. Wait, I gotta be careful here. This becomes a 3. I gotta be really good. 6x minus 18. Bring it. Change this to plus. Okay, I think the problem works now if we do this, okay? Okay. Now this one right here, change that to 3x plus 9, okay? I think that'll be good. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. This one I have seen on the SATs before, and there's kids that miss it because they're trying to like go back and remember something when if they just drew a picture and started looking at it for a minute, they wouldn't miss it. So I have a problem like this. How do I start it off? Draw a picture, right? So here's CD, and I know B is the midpoint, so put a tick mark there. What do I know? So this is 3x plus 9. And I know CD is 8x minus 5. Oh, darn it. But what's BD? Good, Dorina. The same as CB, because it's the midpoint. So this is also 3x plus 9. And then once you get that, the problem's easy. Yeah? Because it's just an algebra problem like the previous lesson, yeah? So what do I know? 3x plus 9 plus 3x plus 9 equals 8x minus 5. So what do I get? Oh, no, I didn't mess this up. Good. All right, so that's what? 6x plus 18 is equal to 8x minus 5. It's probably going to get a little bit ugly here. I'm going to bring the 6x over and bring the 5 over. So 18 plus 5 is 23, right? So 23 equals 2x. So x is 23 halves. Is probably the best answer. I probably wouldn't even turn that into a decimal. That's the trap, yeah? We good there? Any questions there? We good? All right, so x is 23 halves. How do I find CD? Plug it in. So I know that CD is going to be equal to what? 8 times 23 halves minus 5. What's 23 halves times 8? Well, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 23s is what? Is that 92? 92? 92 minus 5? 87. CD is 87. If I want to see if this is right, how long should CB be? If CD is 87, how long should CB be? Half of that. So if I wanted to, I could plug in the 23 halves there and see if it does equal it. If I was taking a test and I had enough time, I would check. That's exactly how I would check it. All right. Example 3. I'm not actually going to do this one. I'm just going to set it up because I think the algebra is exactly the same, yeah? What do I know about PQ? Well, I know that Q is the midpoint, so I know these are equal, yeah? So that's the same, right? 6 minus 3x. I guess I'll just do it. I have enough time. So 6 minus 3x plus what? Or if I wanted to flex for the ladies, double it. Because there's 2 of them, right? 2 groups of 6 minus 3x is equal to 14x plus 2. You can go and distribute and do all that, but there's another way you can solve this problem and not have to distribute. I guess you still are distributing, but it makes it easier. Don't distribute it 2. Divide both sides by 2. Am I allowed to do that? I hope so, yes. Those cancel. What do I get? 6 minus 3x. If this doesn't make sense to you, go do the algebra. You'll get the exact same answer. It'll just be longer. What does 14x plus 2 over 2 become? 7x plus 1. I'm going to bring the 3x over, bring the 1 over. If I bring the 3x over, it's going to become 10x on this side. Bring the 1 over, it's going to become 5. So x is not 2. X is a half. Yeah? So x is a half. And then they could ask you, what are they asking? What's the measure of PR? Okay, well, how would I find PR? Well, PR would equal to what? 14 times a half plus 2. Guys, I am not interested in you crunching through numbers. Just show me the basic steps, what you're doing. I better not just see an answer, because I'll give you a 0. Make sure you're just showing me the steps that are going on, not just a number, okay? Half of 14 is 7 plus 2 is 9. PR is 9. This is hard. All right. Next problem. I have 2 points, right? And I want to find the midpoint. How do I find the midpoint? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the average of the x's. How do we find the average of the x's? Add them together and divide by 2, which is awkward silence. 3. Find the average of the y's. It'll be 0 plus 8 over 2, which is 4. What does 4 mean? The midpoint is 3 comma 4. It's that easy. It can get harder. The ones I've seen on the SATs, when you're getting ready to go to college in 4, you know you're close to your finish line, right? Y'all are 8th graders. You have 4 years and you're graduating, and then life begins. Yeah? When you take your SATs, this is a section that you probably, I should have told you this. The lesson before, I would have put a star on. And this lesson, I would have put a star on, because when you're getting ready for your SATs someday, these are lessons you want to come back and look at. Yeah? All right. Given point C is the midpoint of BD. Find the coordinates of B. Okay, now listen. Before I would solve this one, that one looks more complicated, correct? Correct? I would draw it. I would make a quick little sketch of it, okay? So, because I need to know what I'm looking at. If I don't know what I'm looking at, I could miss it. All right, what is D? 6, 2. So we're right around here, right? 6, 2, and that is point D. And C is what? C is I'm wishing I had made more. I'm going to do it over here so I have more room. So I'm going to say 6, 2 is here. That's 6, 2. That's D. 11, negative 12 is down here. That is C, right? Okay, this is a good problem. Because the mistake, almost everybody who misses it, what do you think they're going to do next? They'll find the midpoint of DC. What's the question?
Is midpoint of BD?
C is? Oh, that's the midpoint. Which means where the heck is B? So, not probably, definitely, yes. Down here somewhere, you get it? And can you see the segment you're looking at? I wish I had made myself more room. But here's the segment. You see it? And C is the midpoint. You see how you can easily miss that? If you just started doing it, you would probably miss it. If you drew a picture, you're like, whoa, whoa, C's not the end point. C is the midpoint. Yeah? Okay. Do I know where this point is? Guess what I call it? XY. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to just call it some XY coordinate. You with me? Okay. Do not do 6 plus 11 over 2. That would find the midpoint of DC. What do I add together to find the midpoint? The two x's. So what am I adding together? 6 plus x divided by 2. Y divided by 2? Okay, we're taking the average. The average of 6 and whatever x is divided by 2 should make? Should make? No, no, no. Should make 11. What am I doing here? Watch. This plus this divided by 2 should make this. You get the logic? I'm not making a formula out of this. I'm just looking at it and using common sense, yeah? And from here, I probably would not distribute the half. I would not distribute the 2. I'd probably what? Multiply both sides by 2? Right? Times 2 times 2. So I get 6, what? Plus x equals 22. So x is 22 minus 6? What's that, 16? Is it reasonable that that's 16? Does that reasonably look like that could be 16? Yeah, because it's farther to the right. And that's looking like the right kind of place. If you get negative 12, then you messed up. You know you messed up because negative 12 would be over here somewhere. And you're like, no, it should be over here. That's why if you draw a picture, you don't make a mistake. All right, so I just found the x coordinate, yes? How do I find the y coordinate? 2 plus y over 2 equals? Equals negative 12. Double both sides. I get 2 plus y equals negative 24. Bring the 2 over. What is y? Negative 26. The midpoint is where? 16, negative 26. Is that hard? The only tricky part is you got to draw a picture so you know what you're looking at, and then you're going to end up with a baby algebra problem to do. All right, I'm not going to do example 7. It's the same process. The one because I want to spend some time on 8 and 9 with you guys. Okay. All right. Actually, we're not even going to do that problem yet. We're going to have to walk through this. I can teach you an algorithm. I can teach you a formula to do these, but you're going to forget the formula in 2 seconds. Okay. And there's going to be so many things I'm going to put in your head this year. You don't need another thing in your head. You just need to know a method that always works, that you can logic your way. Okay? Okay, so let's say this point, let's say I have a point here. That's at, I don't know, what, negative 2. And then I got this point here. This is at 10. Okay? And we'll call this point A and call this point B. I want to find 1/3 of the distance from A to B. And then I want to find 1/3 of the distance from B to A. Okay? Let's just logic our way to it. And it actually goes back to what you did earlier. I can't do the average of them because the midpoint is not going to help me. I want 1/3 of the distance, right? That makes sense logically? I don't want the midpoint. I want 1/3 of the distance. So what I'm kind of doing in my head is I'm breaking this up into 3 pieces and I want the 1/3 part. So how do I do that? There's a lot of ways you can do it, but probably the easiest way is to first figure out how far this is. How far is this? 12. Yeah? So I find the distance is 12. Yeah? Once I know the distance is 12, then I want 1/3 of it. So then I find 1/3 of that. What's 1/3 of 12? 4. Okay, so that point is at 4. Wrong. And that is where everybody goes wrong. If a person's sitting in my class and they're paying attention like 70% of the time and 30% of the time they're chasing rainbows or whatever they're doing, they're going to miss this every single time. That 4 is not where it's at. That's how far you move. That makes sense? It's saying you want to move 4 spots. Yeah? So if you thought about this, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes? How far am I going to move? I'm going to move 4 spots from A towards B. So I'm at -2. What am I going to do? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move 4. Does that make sense? So that's where I'm at. Where is that? 2. So 1/3 of the distance from A to B is 2. Yeah? And then I could do the same thing there. I'm at 10, so I just move 4 this way, yes? No, good. You make that face. That's stupid. No. What does that mean? 1/3 of the distance from B to A. Move this way 4, yes? Makes sense logically? So where am I at? 10, 9, 8, 7. I think I'm at 6. So I'm at 6. This makes sense logically? So what did I do? I first calculated how long this line was. Then I found 1/3 of that line, and that tells me what? How far to move. Yeah, but which way do I move? You have to look at it, and you have to move from that point to that point. You with me on that? Any questions? All right, so let's go back to this, and let's do a problem like that. You ready? And you got to get good at example 8 before you can do problem 9, okay? Okay, X is on BD. Great, all right? That is 1/4 of the distance from B to D, right? Okay, we can just look at it here, but you're not learning the math when it gets harder, okay? So we're looking at this segment, right? BD. Right? And we're trying to find 1/4 of the distance from B to D. Okay, so what do? What's the distance, or how long is BD? Okay, there's a lot of ways we can find BD, right? Remember the way from the day before. What's one way we can find BD? How do we find distance? Subtract, not add. Your brain's getting midpoint and distance. They can get them mixed up real easy, right? All right, so -2 minus -6, right? Divided by 2? No, that's for midpoint. Don't get them all mixed up. -2 minus a -6 is 4. Mr. Gillespie, couldn't I have just counted it and saved myself a lot of work? Yes, if they give you a picture. But what if the points are like 200 spots away from each other? What, are you going to sit there and draw it? Or are you going to have a better method long term, yeah? So find the distance. What does the 4 mean? Here's what the 4 does not mean. You take 1/4 of 4, 1/4 of 4, right? We're going to find 1/4 of that, which is 1. So 1/4 of the way from -6 to -2 is 1. And you're drunk. There's no way that it's at 1. What's the point that is 1/4 of the distance from B to D? 1? No. What does the 1 represent? How far you move. You're going to move 1. Move 1 which way? From B towards D. So I'm at -6. So I'm going to do -6, what? Plus 1, which would be -5. So what is 1/4 of the distance? -5. That makes sense logically. All right, now it's gonna get harder. All right, here we go. Next problem. Now it's on a segment, right? On a coordinate plane. What you're going to do is you're going to do this problem twice. You're going to do it once left or right, and then you're going to do it once up and down. You're going to break it up into two problems. You're going to find 1/3 of this distance, and then you're going to find 1/3 of that distance. You see what you're doing visually? All right. So let me, I'm going to make up a problem real quick for you guys. Let me just make up one because I don't want to do that one yet because I just want you to watch one time, okay? So let me just make up one. 1, 2, 3. Say it's here. All right, let's say the other point is here. Okay, so this point is at what? 2, 2, and that point is at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to say it's here, okay, because I want the number to be pretty. So that's what? 12. No, I don't want it to be at, that's not 12, that's actually 14. If you counted it, it's 14. 14 what? -4? All right. And we're going to find 2/3 of the distance. I'm going to call this from A to B, okay? 2/3 of the distance from A to B. All right, here's what you're going to do first. Find the distance between the x's. How would I find the distance between the x's? Subtract them. I would do 14 minus 2. I'm taking this point, this x coordinate minus this x coordinate. What if I did it the other way? I would get a negative number. What do I do if it's a negative? Just make it positive, take its absolute value. Yeah? Okay? So what is this? 12. What do I do with the 12? Oh. Find 2/3 of it. So multiply it by 2/3. I want to find 2/3 of the distance of 12. What is 2/3 of 12? 8. So that means I'm going to move 8. Okay? Find the distance between the y's. What would it be? -4 minus 2 is -6, which is 6, a distance of 6, not -6, right? Times 2/3 is 4. First dumb mistake. That does not mean 2/3 of the distance is 8, 4. What does the 8 mean? How far you're moving. Okay, this is where some people, they just don't get it, all right? And they just because they're trying to do math here instead of common sense, okay? I'm going from this point to this point. So remember what I'm doing. I'm traveling some distance on the x and some distance on the y's, right? Oh, it looks like 14 was a little bit farther. I need another dot in there. Whatever, yeah? All right. And then I'm going to go some distance on the y's. You with me? And that will tell me where I am here. Once I find 2/3 of this distance and 2/3 of that distance, I'll know where the point is. Yeah? What did I just discover with the 8? I'm going to move it 8 on from A towards B. So I was here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to move it 8 this way. Does that make sense logically? So is that 2? So where is it? 10. So the coordinate is going to be, what is it? It's 2 plus 8, right? Which is 10. What does that tell me? The x coordinate, I'm sorry, the x coordinate is where? At 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's here. Yeah? That's 2/3 of the distance. Now the tricky part. The y coordinate. How far am I moving on the y? 4. Here's what people do wrong. They say, oh, I'm moving 4, So the y-coordinate is 2, so they do 2 plus 4, and they get 6. And they say the y-coordinate is 6, and you're like, oh yeah, it's up here. That's the 2/3 of the distance. No. This is where you got to be careful. Good, down. It's going towards A to B, so it's going to go down 4. But Mr. Gillespie, last time you went up, I know, you have to look at the picture. You're trying to travel from A towards B, so you're going to have to travel down. Down how far? 4. So it's not going to be what? It's not going to be 2 plus 4. What is it going to be? 2 minus 4. We were at 2 for the y-coordinate, and we're going to move down 4, which is going to make it what? -2. Then stop and look at it. If I graph the point 10, -2, does that look reasonable? We're saying it's there. Does that look about 2/3 of the distance? Yes. Done. Could you eyeball it? Yes. But I guarantee you, when I give it to you on a test, it's not going to be eyeballable. Got it? You got to look at the picture. Now look, what if, let's just say, A was here, and B was here. Yeah? And I needed to move, how far on the X? What did we say earlier? X we're moving 8, and the Y we're moving 4. If I was going from there to there, which way would I move on the X? What's X? X is either left or right. What would I do? I would move right 8, right? And then up 4. Make sense? Okay, what if the point was like this? Here's A and here's B. What would I do? Right 8, and then down 4, which would be -4. What if I was doing this? What if this was point A and this was point B? Then I would go left 8, down 4. Yeah? Yeah, but when do I know which one? When you look at it and you see, how do I get from that point to that point? Not some crazy formula. Use what? Common sense. All right? All right, so let's try this problem now. Ready? Let's go through the steps. We're going to work on this for 2 days, so don't get too freaked out about it, okay? All right, what are we going to do first? We're first going to find the distance between the x's, and we're going to find the distance between the y's. How far between the x's? 5. If you don't know how we got 5, go watch the other video. How far between the x's? I'm sorry, between the y's? 6. Okay, what do I do with that 5 and that 6? I don't move it 5 and I don't move it 6. If I moved it 5 and 6, I would end up at the other point. So multiply each point by 1/3. And I actually would write this as a mixed number because I need to move it, yeah? So what is this? This is 5/3, which is really 1 2/3. We okay with that? And then 1/3 of that is easy, it's 2. That does not mean the point is at 1 2/3, comma 2. No. What is that telling me? How far to move from when to where to where? N towards M. You got to read the question because sometimes they'll trick you and they'll say from N towards N, and then or N towards M, or they'll say M towards N. You got to look at it. Okay, so what am I doing? I'm moving from N towards N. So how far am I moving on the X? 1 2/3, right or left? Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take -3. This is for the X coordinate, right? I'm going to take -3. And what am I going to do to it? Add 1 2/3. What am I going to do with the Y coordinate? I'm going to start at -3 and do what to it? I need to go up, right? To get from N towards M, I'm going to go this way, right? And then I'm going to go up, which is plus or minus? Plus. So plus 2. What is -3 plus 1 2/3? Not 2 and 2/3. Be careful. There's a lot of ways you can do this. What I would do is I would think of -3 as -2 3/3. And then add 1 and 2/3, right? 3/3 minus 2/3? 1/3. Negative 2 plus 1? So negative 1. Yeah? Am I right on that? Wait, I gotta be careful. I could have just made a dumb mistake there. If I take 1 and 2/3 away from 3, because it really is subtraction. No, I get 1 and 1/3, but it'd be negative, yeah? Yeah, I'm okay. All right. Negative 3 plus 2? That one's easy. Negative 1. What does this mean?
It's 1.
What does this mean?
You gotta move 1 and move 1.
So I move it again. No. Not the midpoint. It's the distance that's 1/3 of the distance. I already moved it that amount of month. I don't have to do it again, right? That could be a. So where is this point at? Negative 1 and 1/3, comma. And if I graph that point, it should look like it's about 1/3 of the way. Let's see. Negative, here's 0. Negative 1 and 1/3 is about here. Negative 1's here. So it's about right there. Does that look right? Right? If I do that and that, that's in one piece and 2 pieces. That looks about 1 and 1/3. If it doesn't look right, then you probably messed it up. Make sense? Okay, so what did I do? One more time. I'm not going to walk through it. I first found the distance between the x, found distance of the y's. I multiplied them by how far I wanted to move. Then I looked at the picture, and I said, oh, to get from n to m, I need to move forward on the x, so I added that much to the x. And I would need to go up on the y, so I added that much to the y. If I was going from m towards n, then I would have done what on the x? Subtracted on the x and subtracted on the y. All right. That's it. There you go, guys.